So before I start this video, I just want to say that this video is fair use, so all the media used in this video is used for criticism, review, or in a transformative way. All the information I present is public information, and everything else is alleged, a joke, or my opinion. So my background do be a little messy today. Things are happening in this household. I want to start doing like these little like fun facts things before my video, but hopefully they'll be more like relevant to more pressing issues. So I guess the first thing I want to talk about is adultification. Adultification is defined as a form of racial prejudice where children of minority groups such as African American girls are treated as being more mature than they actually are by a reasonable social standard of development. Beginning in slavery, black boys and girls were imagined as chattel and were often put to work as young as 2 and 3 years old. Subjected to much of the same dehumanization suffered by black adults, black children were really perceived as being worthy of playtime and were severely punished for exhibiting normal childlike behaviors. So adultification might not seem that bad at first glance, but it does still negatively affect minorities. For example, black youth are deemed more capable and responsible in situations that would usually concern adults. There was an experiment conducted where adults would have to determine whether or not they would take action after seeing certain things. These certain things were always to do with young children. For example, they would be shown a little girl having an interaction with an older man who clearly isn't the father, or they'll be alone at night and obviously lost and stuff like that. And they were to determine whether or not these certain situations would concern them. And there were children of many different ethnicities, and you would assume that a white child being scared or lost would warrant the same reaction as a black child being scared or lost. But they weren't. They found that a lot of people would view younger black children to be more capable, and therefore they wouldn't have to speak out, they don't have to take action. And from the age of 10, black boys are seen as more mature than white boys, which then leads to them being punished or found guilty for certain things that their white classmates wouldn't be as heavily punished for, which by extension leads to police brutality against them being seen as more justified. Black youth are more likely to get suspended, and often for the same behavior as their white classmates. And this, again, continues into more serious things such as arrest. We all know that black people in America are most likely going to be charged a very, very heavy sentence for a very small crime. We all know about the way that black people are treated when they're getting arrested and detained. So that is what adultification is, and that is why it's an issue. So I talked about Bryce Hall in my last video, and I just like skipped this part for some reason. I saw the tweet. I just didn't know what the tweet was like from anyway. So the tweet that I saw was cancel culture looking for the next victim. And then Leah responded to that saying, "Babe, you kicked my 2 friends and I out of a party because 2 of us are proudly trans and the other friend was a black female. So expect to be cancelled? Why are people like you given a platform? It's mind-boggling." There's also the fact that he's like hosting and going to parties in the first place, but that's like another issue. Why are all these TikTok boys all racist or homophobic or sexist in some way, shape, or form? For example, Bryce Hall and the 2 other guys in the Sway House regularly make fun of feminine guys for being feminine. Chase Hudson said the N-word and cheated on Charlie D'Amelio. It was also recently his birthday, and he held this like massive ass, huge ass party for himself. I mentioned before that they were being more discreet with these parties, but he decided to be real bold and post a bunch of videos of him basically sitting out for the party and him buying a bunch of alcohol for the party and stuff like that. We love seeing influencers not give a fuck about not only their health but also the health of everyone around them. The mayor of Los Angeles said that he would cut off the water and power of houses belonging to people who continue to throw and host big gatherings, and obviously the Sway House is one of those, and the boys were bragging about and flaunting the fact that they still have working electricity and running water. Apparently they were already issued some citations, but then obviously the power didn't cut out or anything like that. But then the mayor of Los Angeles said, "Today authorized the city to disconnect utility service at a house on the Hollywood Hills to stop the large parties held there in flagrant violation of our public health orders. Parties like these can quickly and easily spread the virus and put our communities at risk." And Thomas Petro commented under an Instagram post talking about these regulations and stuff, saying, "We've been working closely with the city and we're not included in the list of people getting shut offs. We all realized Larry's party was a big mistake and we take full accountability. It won't happen again." Which, if this is true, is so infuriating, because like, why do they get off the hook? Is it because they're famous? The next thing I want to talk about is Danielle Cohn. So before I get into the recent stuff, I just want to talk about like her past and why people don't like her mother. If you don't know who Danielle Cohn is, she is an internet personality who gained a platform off Musical.ly, which is now TikTok. She's kind of big on Instagram. She's got a YouTube channel and a relatively big platform on there. I believe she's dabbled in music, but her social media presence is kind of based off like acting older than she is, if that makes sense. She's wearing very, very like scandalous or revealing clothes and stuff like that, which wouldn't necessarily be a problem if she didn't do it in the way that she did it. She's gotten a lot of backlash in the past 4 videos where she's wearing like adult Halloween costumes and she's showing it to her boyfriend and her mom, and like her mom goes through her phone and sees all like these pictures and stuff like that. So her entire thing is being like sexualized. And then it was exposed that her mother was kind of like the mastermind behind all this, and even though she was in these videos being like, "Oh my god, Danny, you're a young girl, you shouldn't be wearing clothes like this, you shouldn't be posing like this," she was basically the one sexualizing her own daughter.
Danny, show them your body. potty so they can be quiet.
I don't have the context for this video. There was another video where she was basically forcing Danielle to strip in the pool to show people that she's not photoshopping her bum or her hips and stuff like that. Don't know if this is the same thing, but either way, it's still concerning. It's kind of like a well-known thing that she's allegedly lying about her age. There's like a lot of proof behind it and stuff like that. I believe she's like 13 or 14 now, but she was previously pretending to be 14. And her mum said this on a live stream, basically fucking up and accidentally saying her real age.
Check for the last time you're 14.
Like,
guys, she is 12 years.
8.
Guys, she is 14. I'm reading all these comments.
I don't know, and he just like...
Her father's also come out with like more proof to show that she is younger than her mum claims that she is. He is no longer in contact with Danielle, but he has exposed them many times. He went as far as showing her birth certificates to show that she's actually a lot younger than they say she is. And Danielle, when she was younger, also participated in beauty pageants. And like the years of these shows didn't line up with her age that her mother claims. So it's kind of obvious that there's something sketchy going on, but I'm not saying anything.
Interesting, very interesting, but that's none of my business.
And so the recent drama, I say recent, it was like a few weeks ago, but it started a few months ago when she went on an Instagram live and talked about a medical procedure that she was having. And the way that she talked about it was very odd and very suspicious. And apparently this medical procedure just made her really depressed and very down. And there were speculations that she had an abortion due to a new tattoo that she got. She also posted this TikTok.
Take her to the moon for me. Okay.
And semi-recently, there was a recording leaked of a conversation between Danny and her mother, basically talking about it and confirming it.
You're cold-hearted to me all the time. You just don't think about how other people feel, unless it's you or Mikey. And we can't get along at all. I'm getting all kinds of shit on the internet right now about being a horrible mom and all stuff, and I'm starting to really think I am, because it is true. I'm letting you do this at this age. I'm letting you do that. I allowed you to have an abortion. I allowed so much that I shouldn't have allowed.
First of all, you're not a bad mother for letting her have an abortion. You're a bad mother for letting her and encouraging her to do these things that led up to her needing one in the first place. She's also apparently been threatening people, especially the person who released the conversation. She ended up sending a private investigator to that person's house and telling them to like stop posting about her and Danny as if it was illegal to do so. And then Danielle uploaded a video on her YouTube channel 3 weeks ago talking about the abortion and what happened, highlighting how alone she felt and how the father of the child treated her terribly. People suspect that the father is Ethan because the timeline matches up, and the day that she was getting an abortion was the day that they broke up, I believe. But the father, whoever it was, just wasn't very supportive, even though they wanted her to get the abortion in the first place. She touched up about this in her video, but what I find really disturbing is how many people are sending Danielle hate for this. She's like 14 or something. She really doesn't need all this bullshit on her plate. What she needs is to have a better parental figure, not thousands, if not millions of people saying that she's a murderer. Leave her alone. Honestly, y'all are embarrassing. So the next person I want to talk about is Griffin Johnson. If y'all don't know who that is, don't worry, because I had no idea either. But he is the ex-boyfriend of Dixie D'Amelio, who ended up cheating on her. So on Dixie's birthday, he tweeted out saying that he was going to upload an apology, and obviously a lot of people were really hyped up about this because he hadn't spoken up about cheating on Dixie. So they were all expecting this video where he would apologize to Dixie for being an asshole. However, instead of doing that, he uploaded the video called I Messed Up and proceeded to talk about a bet that he made with Bryce Hall, and his mess up was losing the bet. Dixie's mother kind of came out and addressed it somewhat.
Has anyone else been annoyed recently with one specific TikToker who's been posting a lot of YouTube videos as part of a bet? He's also been using his Twitter fingers a lot recently just to say some stupid stuff, and for like no real reason, actually one really big reason. Everything he's doing is just annoying.
There was also more proof that he did actually cheat on her or was actively trying to cheat on her when somebody DM'd Dixie saying, "My sister and her friends were invited to a party with the Sway Boys or whatever they're called, and Griffin got with one of them, and when asked, aren't you with Dixie, his response was, I'm just trying to get my dick wet." The last thing I want to talk about is Zoe Laverne. Again, I am going to go through pretty much everything on her because it turns out she's got a lot of problematic behavior. So she's allegedly said the N-word in her past. So her ex-boyfriend came out and said that she had regularly used the N-word, though there is no proof for it. But there was also a Musical.ly where she supposedly said the N-word, but people were like debating whether or not she said it because you couldn't really tell by her lips, and the girl behind her also did like a weird thing with her lips to like prevent herself from saying the N-word, you know what I mean? So that couldn't really be confirmed. However, I found another TikTok on Musical.ly, I'm not really sure. Personally believe she did actually say it because her lips do align with the word. And then she used her black friend for her Black Lives Matter TikTok.
I might not be the same, but that's not important. No freedom till we're equal. Damn right I support it.
She also used the Black Lives Matter movement as an aesthetic and made merch out of the movement, which had nothing to do with donating to charities that actually had something to do with Black Lives Matter.
Are you dumb, stupid, or dumb?
She's also known to be very, very egotistical and manipulative.
It's always me, so it's my fault. But I literally love you and I want you back, and you just treat me like this. You don't do anything for me. You're making it seem like it's okay for people to tell me to kill myself.
I wanted to get back together. I cried to him, guys. I physically cried, telling him that I loved him.
And there's this video of her complaining about a guy that she cheated on her boyfriend with.
He says in his video that at IHOP, I told him to kiss me. And in the Uber, he was next to me. Tell me how physically I can look at you and say, Drake, kiss me. Tell me, okay? I may have kissed you, which is the most disgusting thing I've ever done, and I will never do it again. This boy has tried to get with me so many times.
There was also this picture, and apparently she posted this and she claimed that she was in hospital due to her mental health, but the issue is that she's had a history of exaggerating her mental health issues and like being sad and stuff like that, and she often uses her mental health as an excuse or just straight up lies about it. Like, she's claimed that she's attempted suicide in order to get sympathy from other people, and people have come out who have like been to mental hospitals and stuff like that saying that if she was actually hospitalized due to her mental health, then she first of all wouldn't be allowed to have her phone, and second of all she wouldn't be allowed to have her mother there with her because they're not allowed visitors in their room. She also allegedly uses her fans to her advantage. I don't know if this is real, but there is the screenshot where somebody who was obviously a fan of her was texting her and she asked them if they know how to use Photoshop, and they say, I can try, yeah. She says, make a DM of her calling me a whore and telling me to kill myself, but act like she's saying Zoe's a whore, she can go kill herself. Did you make it? I need it. And then there was a screenshot of the person saying in Instagram DMs, Zoe, you're a fucking whore, go kill yourself. And then she herself, Zoe, ended up posting that screenshot. She also supposedly fat-shamed Addison Rae, and some people think that she responded rather poorly. I feel like she has every right to be angry. Like, you can't dictate whether or not somebody's allowed to be angry at a rumor that's spreading about them. But I mean, it's the ego for me.
Run down the street without being. Where is it?
Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god! What is that?
Trying to say that I was body shaming Addison Rae when I literally love Addison and she's my friend and I would never body shame her in my entire life. What I said in the video was he was running up the hill and he was going. I was talking about my dog. They just don't have any more tea. They're trying to make me look even worse. I'm just letting you guys know their account is dead and dry and they don't have anything else to post. So now they're going to try to lie about me body shaming someone when I was literally talking about my dog. I love Addie and her family. Wouldn't do that to her. You look stupid. You look very stupid. Are you stupid? If you're gonna try to lie and make me look worse, can you at least make it believable? Because nobody believes you.
She's obviously also had a history of not being the most truthful. So a video that's gone viral of her is one where she's crying over Charli D'Amelio passing her on TikTok.
I've been literally crying about this for like an hour because it's just so like pathetic that like she just comes in and like almost like she's so close to passing me and everybody's reminding me that she's gonna pass me, and I just want to prove this bitch that I am better than her because I am Zoe fucking Laverne and I am literally the star of TikTok, and TikTok is putting me down and boosting her up, and I'm about to go to TikTok headquarters and strangle their necks.
She later tried to claim that she was just joking and it was just supposed to be a joke and stuff like that and it was supposed to be funny, but obviously nobody bought it because
if you're gonna try to lie and make me look worse, can you at least make it believable? Because nobody believes you.
when she realized people didn't believe her, she said that she's already apologized to Charli, and then she shared this screenshot of her apology to Charli, which she texted to her. And recently she's gotten a little bit of backlash because there's been a trend on TikTok where people are like, you think you can hurt my feelings? I have, and then they say something like, you think you can hurt my feelings? I have 6 older brothers. You think you can hurt my feelings? I was a theater kid at school, stuff like that. And somebody made a video like that saying, you think you can hurt my feelings? I dated a school shooter. And then Zoe commented under that TikTok saying pew pew. And then some people responded to that saying it was insensitive and it was disrespectful. And Zoe's response to somebody that called her out was to say, "You like anime, shut the fuck up." Jenna Marbles also recently spoke out for the first time after her apology video, which she now has deleted, which a lot of people were confused about. But she did say in that video that she was going to take that video down because she didn't want that to be like her last impression on YouTube. Basically, she just went on the podcast that was originally both her and Julian's, but is now Julian's. She went on that podcast and basically just said her last goodbyes, and that was it. And Tony Lopez has apparently been DMing young fans, or I believe one young fan, I'm not quite sure, but she was a fan of his. She's about 15 years old, and she DM'd him on Instagram, and he responded, and then they took it to Snapchat, where she would send him like selfies and stuff like that, just like normal photos, and he would respond to them calling her babe or baby and saying that she was really hot and really beautiful. And he apparently sent her nudes and tried to ask her for nudes. The main issue that I have with this, other than the fact that if this is real, then Tony Lopez is gross and is taking advantage of his very young audience, is that so many people were blaming this fan for what allegedly happened to her, saying that it was her fault for DMing him on Instagram first, for saying that it was her fault for asking for a Snapchat. And I read this comment under another YouTube video and it said, "It's disturbing how many people are genuinely shocked by the idea that if a minor has a crush on an adult, or if a minor makes sexual advances towards an adult, then it is up to that adult to establish appropriate boundaries." So many people DM their favorite influencer or celebrity, very few of them actually expect them to respond. And on the off chance that they do, if they take it to a sexual place, then obviously they're gonna want to go there with them. It was up to him as a 22-year-old adult man to not take it to a sexual place. And it's really disturbing that he did take it to a sexual place, and there's a large group of people acting as if the 15-year-old girl was supposed to be the one making the adult decisions in this relationship. And lastly, there was this TikTok that got a lot of heat recently because it was from this guy who teaches people Mandarin, essentially, and he was teaching people this phrase and it sounded a lot like the N-word. Mandarin is a very common language. If you know it, you know which word he's talking about, and I'm sure we've all had like an experience where people thought we or another Mandarin speaker was saying the N-word because of this. The phrase he was trying to say was, "Can I buy that one?" or something along those lines, I believe. And the word buy also sounds very similar to the English word my, so it sounds like he's saying my N-word, which is also really problematic. But he made a TikTok basically explaining himself, saying like he wasn't trying to say the N-word, he's literally teaching people Mandarin, like that's what his entire TikTok thing is about. And a bunch of people under the comment of that explanation was basically saying, "No, you did this on purpose, you know exactly what you're doing, you were saying this on purpose." What does that mean? Like, how do you what do you mean he purposely, he was saying like an actual word with like an actual different meaning in an actual different language. The word is technically supposed to be pronounced naga, but it's very similar to many other English words where like people, when they actually say it, it doesn't usually sound like the way that it sounds when you pronounce it very heavily. For example, if you were to say the word literally, it is technically supposed to be pronounced literally, but everyone just says like literally and stuff like that. You get what I mean? It's kind of the same vibe. So even though it's supposed to be pronounced naga, a lot of people will say it like naga, but obviously a lot faster and a lot more flat toned sometimes, so it does sound like the N-word. The top comment under the TikTok where he explains himself says, "Out of all the possible phrases to teach, you chose one that would obviously offend people. You knew what you were doing." The phrase he was trying to teach, by the way, is "I would like to buy that one." Like something that like a tourist would say. Like if you're going to visit China, chances are you're going to go shopping, and if you're going to go shopping, chances are you're going to have to communicate with a Chinese speaking person, and chances are you're going to have to tell them that this is the thing that you would like to buy. It's not like a random phrase that he pieced together that doesn't really make sense so that he could like get to say the N-word that isn't even the N-word. They're really out here trying to cancel a whole language now, LMAO. When will people realize that English isn't the only language in the world? Wait till y'all hear what the Spanish word for black is. When people try to stop racism with slightly different racism, which is so true, like you're not a savior. I don't see any black person in the comments being genuinely offended that he didn't say the N-word. Y'all pretending that this is racist is racist. Y'all refusing to let Chinese people speak Chinese because you interpreting the words that they're saying as a different word is on you. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you like this video, if you liked me, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you didn't like me, make sure to get in contact with my teachers because I bet you'll have a lot in common, and make sure to stay safe and stay hydrated.